Good evening, Connersville and Fayette County. Welcome to the 2016 TV3 News Examiner County Candidate Debate Forum. My name's James Sprague. I'm the editor of the News Examiner. I'm accompanied tonight by my colleague, Daryl Smith. And tonight, you're going to find out where your candidates stand on several county issues in several county races. The format for this evening's debate is candidates will have 3 minutes for an opening statement. They will then have 2 minutes to respond to questions posed by both myself and the audience, for those in the audience that might have questions. And then they will also have a 1-minute rebuttal time to any answers given by any other fellow candidates. So this evening, we're starting off our debate forum with the candidates for County Council at large. There are 6 candidates total, but we only have 4 present here this evening. The 4 you see here this evening are from left: Republican David Jobe, Republican Kay Riker Payton, Democrat Ruby Seiler, and Democrat Jim Wolf. So, candidates, thanks for joining us this evening, especially with it being so hot and muggy. We'll try to make this quick and as painless as possible. So I will begin. First of all, we will start with David Jobe. An opening statement from you, sir.
Yes, my name is David Jobe. The last 2 or 3 days, so I want to apologize for that. I probably shouldn't be here, so I'm not going to touch anybody. There you go. I'm running for council because I enjoy trying to help the community, the city or county, or both at the same time. I think there's a lot of opportunities that we don't address sometimes. There's opportunities that we kind of overwork and don't get anything done. I think it's time to make this area, the state of Indiana, a better place to live. All of our numbers aren't good, so let's try to make them better. Thank you.
Okay. Next would be candidate Kay Riker Payton.
Thanks. First of all, I want to say that I am and I represent a new voice and new blood to the county council. That's one of my talking points that I really like for you to look at. It's something new, something different. I am from here, grew up on a farm here, went to school here. I have a degree in business with a financial background. I'm very familiar with budgets, how to save money. When I worked at Visteon, I was on a committee where we were able to save Visteon over $1 million in the first year. Secondly, I've been doing my homework with talking to people at the courthouse, getting suggestions and ideas of what they think can be done, because they're the people that's in the middle of the mix and know better than anyone else what's going on inside. And thirdly, I've been attending the county council meetings for the past 2 years to observe and learn firsthand what's been going on. And I promise to be engaged, motivated, and dedicated to the county people, or the entire county population in Fayette County. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kay. Our next candidate, Ruby Seiler.
I'm Ruby Seiler. I live in Connersville. I worked at Visteon for 38 years, and I also had several jobs in between that, working 3 jobs at times. I have 3 children, and I do work very hard, and I do a lot of things that I enjoy, helping other people. And now I guess that's one of my goals. I'm interested in our town, and I'm interested in our kids, because that's where it all starts from, and the parents and everything. And I've been a president of the retirement group for 7 years, and I appreciate it if everybody would get out and vote, though. My final statement on that is coming early, because we can't complain if we don't go vote. So I think that's one thing you got to remember. And I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. And our last candidate, Jim Wolf.
My name's Jim Wolf, and I want to thank the Connersville News Examiner, Cable TV3, for hosting this tonight. I'm 68 years old. I'm a lifelong resident of Fayette County. I'm married. I've got a business that I've had for 36 years. That we took an old burned out gas station, made it work, and it's still working. And I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight.
And for the audience and those at home watching, the two candidates not present this evening would be Republican Mark Brockman and Democrat Holly Dunn. From what we understand, they both had prior commitments that they were unable to change. All right, candidates, we're going to go into our round of questioning. Our first question, which I will address to you, Kay Riker-Payton, would be, County Council is the main fiscal body of Fayette County. What financial expertise related to budgets, taxes, and revenue do you have and can bring to this position?
Okay, thanks, James, for the question. That's right up my alley. I have experience with budgets, revenue, and expenditures, 11 years worth when I was at Vistion. And as I said before, in the first year I was there, I saved over $1 million on a committee, served on a committee to cut and save money. So and also with my business degree in finance and business, that's right up my alley. Thank you.
Candidate Jim Wolf, would you like to respond to that question as well?
Would you repeat the question?
County Council is the main fiscal body of Fayette County. What financial expertise related to budgets, taxes, and revenue do you have and can bring to this position?
I've been on the county council for 8 years. I've ran a business for 36 years. We got to make our budgets there at our business. No money is handed to me. I got to promote my business the same way on county council. You have to watch the budget and what you're spending. You can't spend more than you bring in. That's what the problem is today.
Mr. Job, would you like to respond to that question?
Yes, back in the day when I was at Vistion, I had a department to run and we had budgets and so forth to take care of there. Then when I was on the city council, the same thing with addressing the unions with negotiations on how much money you had to spend on different departments. And then when I was in the street department, we had a budget there and I had to watch every nickel and dime because we were in dire need of money. So you knew when every nickel you spent, where it was going and what it was going for, or you didn't spend it. So I think with that and what I've done in my lifetime, I think I'm more than qualified to watch the budgets. The budgets we've had in the last few years, we get tax draws in June and December, and we're always drawing toward the next budget. I could be wrong, off a little bit. I think we borrowed $1.3 million, the county did, out of the next budget round. So I don't think we need to get out of that real quick and work within our means and what we have and spend what we have, no more. Thank you.
And finally, Ms. Seiler, your response.
Well, I have worked jobs and I've had to manage money, and I think you don't overspend. You spend what you got. If you get laid off, then you cut back on something. And I think our county and city just goes overwhelming on these things that we do not have to have. I think there's a lot of things we think we got to have, but if you stop and think, give yourself a think, we don't need all this stuff.
Okay, thank you, candidates. My next question. There has been an idea proposed recently that the county eliminate health insurance for future commissioners and council members due to the cost of the county, especially in light of its current financial state. If elected, would you elect to take the county health insurance, or would you back eliminating it? And I'll address that question first to Ruby Seiler.
Okay, I worked for Vistion for 38 years. I've had to go out and get my own insurance, and it's not hurt me a bit, and I would recline getting their insurance. One reason, if I took their insurance 4 years from now, if I didn't get elected, maybe I couldn't get health insurance without losing everything I got. I will stick with my own insurance. I will pay my own insurance. I don't want nobody, taxpayer, pay my insurance. And I'm not a rich person, but I can pay my own way. Because you got to have a budget.
Mr. Job?
Yeah, with the insurance issue, I don't know why it hasn't been done before now. I don't know why we've drug our feet. It's not that much money, but it is some money to put in the coffers. Everybody gets a monthly salary, and I don't think the insurance should be going on. Should have been stopped years ago. The city council people don't get it, and I'm not sure where and how it started, but I don't believe the county should be getting it either. Thank you.
Mr. Wolf?
This budget hearing, the insurance problem will be taken care of. I'm going to vote to do away with it.
And finally, Ms. Riker-Payton.
Well, I would definitely elect not to take it. Not running for this position for insurance like some people have done in the past. I would feel guilty if I took the insurance and served on the county council. I know that if you are an employee and have a spouse, over 4 years' time, that's $64,000 that would be spent on your insurance. There's no way I would want to be responsible for that cost on the county's dime. So I definitely would decline the insurance.
Hey, thank you, candidates. My next question, and we'll start with Mr. Wolf on this one. There's been talk recently of proposing a new public safety tax in the county to alleviate strain on the county's general budget, which currently pays for emergency services. Do you support such an idea for Fayette County?
Everybody here knows I'm against it. I got a sign out from the gun shop, I'm against it. We don't need it. The more money generate, they'll find ways to spend it. We do not need the new county tax. It would cost the average worker, I think, around $80 that's traveling, that's working, $80 more a year. And I have a neighbor that drives 60 miles round trip every day to work, $80 more out of his check a year. The man cannot afford it. We do not need the tax for the emergency service.
Ms. Riker-Payton, your response?
Well, actually, when it comes right down to it, the decision is actually going to fall into the city's hands. It's not even going to be up to the county. So there's no further point to even talk about it.
But as a county council person, would you even be in support of an idea? That's what the question was.
I don't know, because the cost of the is very, very small. So you have to weigh out, do you want to do that or do you want to cut people? So neither one is good. So it's like the less, or which one, neither, it's just between a rock and a hard place. What do you do? And I can't say what I would pick yet because they're both would be bad for the county to have to do.
Ms. Seiler, your response?
No, I don't think they should raise taxes because there's some people just barely making it now. When I paid my taxes in May, they charged me $120, which may not sound a lot to you guys, but it's $120. I said, well, do I deduct my check from that? Oh, no, you'll have to pay it in the fall. I will give it back to you in the fall. Well, here I owe more, and they've never paid me yet. Instead of paying me what they owe me, I've got to pay them, and they've never turned my money back. Said, we can't do it out of the check. And I said, I'll write the check for the $120 off. Oh, no, you can't do that. That'll mess our books up. Well, I keep a book, too. And so that knocked me off my bank. So I'm definitely against taxes because our houses ain't no better. I mean, you know, nobody's building nothing. Nobody's got nothing to do. Why should I pay more taxes?
Thank you.
And finally, Mr. Job, once you get your water to assist with your voice, your response.
If I just pour it on my head instead of in my mouth. Right up front, no new taxes. There's too many things else you can do besides that. I know there's been a lot of things tried over the years, but I think there's a lot more things to be tried. People is one thing, and people, you don't want to lay off people, you don't want to get rid of people. But that's where your money's at. So you got to watch that, make sure that every department in the courthouse is where they should be. Another big problem we have as far as what the money goes to is the jail. We have a jail to take care of it. And, you know, there's times where we spend a lot of tax money on people in jail. Is there something else we can do with those folks? Well, I think there is, but I can't tell you. But anyway, there's just other obligations that the county has, but I don't believe taxes is the answer for that. So we need to look at other things and see what we can do to help. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. This will be our final question before I open it up to the audience. And audience, if you do have questions of the candidates, we do have a microphone right up front here that you could go to and pose your question to the candidates from there. Our final question, and I will begin with Ms. Seiler. What areas do you believe the county can trim or eliminate costs in to help better its financial situation?
Rephrase that question again.
What areas do you believe the county can trim or eliminate costs to help better its financial situation?
Well, I don't think there are cut jobs like policemen and your first aid, your first responders. I think they're very necessary. And there's a lot of people would volunteer to be around the county watching for things. And stay within your means of what you got. If you got $10, stay within your means. Say, do I have this to last all week or all year? Take in your means. Don't spend more than you got.
Ms. Riker-Payton, your response.
Was it you?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I didn't hear, I'm sorry.
Well, one of my own personal ideas is I think that they could go to a centralized purchasing instead of every department buying their own, and working with maybe the school system and some other municipalities in the city that get a bulk rate on buying all the supplies that the courthouse needs. Maybe looking at another insurance company to see if we can get lower premiums on the insurance on employees. Those are two of my thoughts.
Mr. Wolf.
One place is for the internet techs. We got two of them, one full-time and one part-time, and we never had these jobs in half before. We just called a company in when we needed something, and to me, the cost factor on calling somebody in instead of having a part-time or a full-time one, I think we can get by. We made it before and spending less money if you go through the books and see what we were spending. And I think in some of these offices, we could have floaters instead of, having some full-time people in there all the time. When there's, like the treasurer's office, when it's not busy, have a floater in there that could go to another department, like the auditor's office, when they're busy.
And finally, Mr. Job.
To go on with what Jim just said, there are counties in the state of Indiana that have a lot of part-time help in their courthouses. Maybe that's something we can look at also to see if that could help us. There's all kinds of avenues we could check to see what will help and what won't help. But I just think we need to take a longer look. It's just so hard to make a budget not knowing what things are out there. There's a lot of things you do know, but there's a lot of things you don't within the county. Just like snow removal and all those things, you never know from year to year what we're going to have. I know last year I sent on a lot of salt I didn't need, but didn't have to buy any this year. So I understand those things. Those are things we need to look at and try to save ourselves a dollar here and there. And I just think it can be better than what it is. Thank you.
Now we'll open it up to the audience if anyone would like to ask questions of the candidates.
Say no.
Why not?
Thank you very much.
I think we might have one. And sir, once you get up there, if you can give your name, please.
Mike Mulheron. I'd like to know what you're going to do about the county roads. They're terrible. Every year they say they haven't got any money, and it's been that way for the last 50 years. When are you guys going to start building our county roads? Well, all we do is get potholes, and they throw blacktop in them and let the cars run it down.
Mike, that's the county commissioner's job to make sure that's done. The money's there. They got a pug machine that they don't use that can be used and utilized. It's not the council's fault. It falls back on the commissioners.
The commissioners can bring it up, but you people are the ones that decide on the money.
No, they got the money in their fund. They got the wheel tax and everything. They've got the money.
But you have to okay the expenditure, right?
Nobody's can't. They have to come to us, and they've got the money for road repair. They've got their own budget. They've got the money to do it. They don't have to come to us. They've got the money.
That
I
is
don't-
what I hear from them, so I don't
Well,
know.
get with me and we'll talk about it.
Also, what do you think about the county and the city going together and have a unigov?
Well, that one other of you want to answer that one? I'm not going.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that the county highway and the city street department, there's a lot of things that can be intertwined and they can use different equipment. That way would save money from buying some equipment. There's just like Kay had mentioned a while ago, you can go buy yourselves 50 rakes and get a better price at it, or 25 rakes or whatever, or shovels or whatever. You can get a better price. I think that's something that I've talked about before, and I think it's something that should be looked into.
I can tell you that on the Unigov, which I've done some research on it because I'm in the Women's Voice group, and technically we can't do that just because we want to do it. And I've checked on the finances behind that, and it's more expensive to do a Unigov versus the city and county. But I do agree with what Dave said as far as sharing resources and maybe sharing some responsibilities. But to go to a full-blown Unigov, we don't have enough people and population and revenue in the county to do it.
Ruby?
I'll speak for that too. I think one thing, I think the city ought to go along and the county go along. If they can work together, like you use my tractor, you bring it back like you get it, and they fill it up and everything like that. That's the way I look at it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank Mike.
Any other questions from the audience? Not seeing any. I want to thank our county council candidates for their time this evening and their answers. Thanks for bearing with us. And of course, you have your last 3-minute closing statement as well. We'll begin with Ruby Seiler.
Hey, am I first on everything today? Because I'm the oldest, I think. But I do want everybody to get out and vote, because if you don't vote, you have no complaints. But if I get elected, I will do the best I can. And one thing I should have brought up a while ago, I think, we get $300 or $350 to attend these meetings. I don't think you ought to have that. If you can't afford and talk to your people, why should you, how much money it costs you to go to a meeting? Our city meetings last us for 15 minutes, and I get $300 like for less than an hour. People, that saves you money there, and if you're not interested in your city, you shouldn't run. And I may hurt somebody's feelings on that, but that's the way I feel. And I'm not a rich person, but I think you don't need to pay these people to come and talk for you. You vote for us, and we should be there.
Mr. Job.
Well, I'm just tickled to death. There's this many people here tonight. Most of them are candidates or candidates' families, but the purpose is great. There's so many things that go on that the community doesn't participate in or for or with, and I think it's a great thing that you're all here tonight. If elected, I'll do the best I possibly can and watch every nickel and dime. There's not a lot you can do with taxes, and I'm not for it whatsoever of raising them. So we need, like I said, we need to find other ways of trying to help the community. I love it here in Connersville. I enjoy being here, and I don't want to leave. So anybody can participate in voting this fall, I would appreciate it, and thank you very much.
Mr. Wolf.
Sorry about my cold.
I'm very, very upset. One thing I'm upset over is the new highway garage. When they sold that to us, they said it was going to fall down and kill everybody down there at the highway department. I went to Miles of Richmond, had a guy come down, said for about $100,000 that highway garage could be fixed. They said it couldn't be fixed. The old highway garage is still standing. They tried to pull it down. They couldn't pull it down. We could have saved at least $500,000 by not having that monstrosity out there. Also, there's a drain in that highway garage in the new one. When the water floods, water won't flow uphill to the drain. Why can't we go back and do anything about it? The commissioner signed off on it. Nobody checked anything. They don't care. I need some people in there that cares, that will help me on making decisions on wasting your money. The estimate will probably come in on the highway garage on fixing the floor, probably another $100,000, which we don't have, and we won't get fixed. Another problem is the jail. We got jail over there that's unsecure. We had people break out. There's not rebar in the walls. They just can get a piece of metal, work on the cement, pushed out rocks, and out they go. That's something else that we've got to look at. The only thing I'm asking you is, we do not need people that's go in and spend money. Look at some of these candidates, see how they spend their money, ask them what their credit scores are. If you got a bad credit score, you can't run your house. If you got a bad credit score, you can't run the county. Thank you.
Right. And finally, Ms. Riker-Payton.
Thank you. Well, again, I represent a new voice, new blood, not something from the old that you've had in the past. I have a degree in business, financial background, have a reputation for saving money in my prior jobs. I'd like to point out that currently the county council has already had to borrow $1 million. And I say borrow, I'm not talking about an advance draw, I'm borrow $1 million. So, and that's just only half the year. We're only into half the year. And also, since he brought it up, I'll just say last time I checked, my credit score was 810. So I think that's pretty good. But I would also like to suggest that somehow we create a online forum to let the community and people give their suggestions to, or their ideas that they see they want to filter on up so that we get more of the community involved. I think that's one thing that we need to work on, is getting and listening to everyone's ideas, not our own, not have a personal agenda, because this is a service position. We're here for the county, or everyone in the county. So in closing, I'd just like to say I'm very dedicated, I am engaged. I've already been talking to people in the courthouse and then getting their thoughts and ideas. And they've told me things I won't say here on TV, but if you want to talk to me afterwards. And I also have numbers that show from 2010 to 2015 to how much historically the year-end balance, the general fund has went down. It's sad. We're going to be in trouble in the end of the year if we don't do something. We got to do something. Again, thanks for everyone coming out in this very hot evening, and I appreciate your vote in the fall. Thank you.
With that, we will close the debate portion for the county council candidates. We will now move on to county commissioners District 2, which would be candidates Democrat John Gray and Republican Gary Naylor. And welcome back. Now we have our county commissioners District 2 portion of the debate forum this evening. From left, we have Republican candidate Gary Naylor and Democrat candidate John Gray. Good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for your time this evening. I know you're, especially Mr. Gray, you're probably very hot in that suit up there.
Piece of cake.
As before, with the current round of questions to council candidates, we will allow you a 3-minute opening statement and then a 2-minute response time to the questions that I ask, and also those from the audience, 1-minute rebuttal time, and a 3-minute closing statement. So we'll begin with you, Mr. Naylor, your opening statement.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to thank the News Examiner and TV3 for this opportunity this evening. My wife, Jamie, and I, for those of you that don't know me, we live up in the northwest corner of Harrison Township. Been there for approximately 20 years now. We've lived here in the county basically all of our lives. And I've worked in public service for most of my adult life. I was a member of the Glenwood Volunteer Fire Department for 15 years. I worked for the Fayette County First Aid Unit for 23 years, where I retired as a paramedic. And I served as your county commissioner for 8 years, approximately 12 years ago. And during that time as commissioner, when I come in, our roads were a lot worse shape than they are right now. Our courthouse was in deplorable shape. We did not meet ADA needs in our courthouse as well. And we had several bridges that were in need of repair and replacement. And through those 8 years, we worked together, the council and the commissioners, as a team of one. We come up with a road program that we started and we initiated over those 8 years. We repaired and rebuilt roads. We still had 80 plus miles of gravel roads, and we hard surfaced several miles of those. We started building several bridges and got those up to standard. And the courthouse, we had roof issues. We had a heating and cooling system that was antiquated and ready to lay down at any time. We had ADA accessibility for the upstairs that needed to be addressed. So we took on a renovation and addition project to the courthouse and accomplished all of those goals without raising property taxes. And we'll continue, if I'm elected, we'll continue to meet expenditures with income. Thank you.
Mr. Gray, your turn.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'd like to thank everybody for coming. I'd like to thank Channel 3 and the News Examiner for hosting this. Most of the people here know who I am. My name's John Gray. I was born and raised right here in Fayette County. Been married to my wife Anita for 30 years. How she's done it, I don't know. You can see me standing in a suit. That's how stubborn I am. We have 3 sons, 5 grandchildren. We have lived just outside of Fairview for about 25 years. I've owned and operated John's Automotive successfully for 20 years. Everybody here remembers the Titanic, right? At home. Remember the Titanic? Well, this ship that we're all on, that we call Fayette County, folks, she's sinking. She's taking on more water than our pumps can pump out. And if we don't start fixing the leaks, don't make no mistake about it, we're all going down with her, all of us. That's where I come in. I've worked hard for 30 years polishing a unique set of skills, listening to people, troubleshooting the problem, and then fixing it. I will use my business sense, my common sense, and my ability to work well with others to fix the leaks that's sinking our county. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll move on to the questioning. My first question, I'll address this to you, Mr. Gray. What areas do you believe the county commissioners can improve on or tweak to better the county's infrastructure, such as roads, which was a concern previously expressed by members of the audience?
Well, I sort of agree with him. I'd like to know where our wheel tax money's going. I was under the understanding that that wheel tax money was to buy material to fix our roads. I don't believe we paved a road in the last 15, 20 years. I'm going to address that. We will know where that wheel tax money's at, I promise you. You elect me, I will find out where that wheel tax money's going and what it's being used for. You know, we've got almost 400 miles of road, if I'm not mistaken, in the county. We have 10 to 12 guys working those roads daily. Now, that's not counting sick days, vacation days, so we're probably running with a crew of 8. Guys, I got 1.5 acres of grass, and it takes me 2 days a week to cut it. So imagine what them guys are going through trying to keep up with the roads. But we got to have our money. We got to have the money to fix the infrastructure. The only way we can do that is to check out and see where that wheel tax money is going. That's what it's supposed to be for. That's what we'll use it for if I'm commissioner.
Mr. Naylor, your response.
Could you repeat the question, please?
The question is, what areas do you believe the county commissioners can improve on or tweak to better the county's infrastructure, such as roads, which was a concern of an audience member previously voiced?
when I was commissioner, the council did institute the wheel tax, surtax. In the 8 years that I served as commissioner, we utilized that money for materials only. We seen to it that the ordinance was carried out in its fullest. We laid down approximately 150 miles of overlay in those 8 years. And a lot of people are disgusted with a chip seal program, but that is basically the only program that counties such as Fayette County can afford to use to maintain their roads. I feel that we don't have the chip seal program that we need. We don't cover enough miles a year with that. When I come in 8 years ago, they said the highway garage was broke and didn't have any money to do anything with, and we turned that around. It took us a couple of years to turn that around, but we changed our priorities and we utilized the monies that we had to best serve the roads, and we cut back on the potholes. Now, do we drive through potholes today? Yes, we do. But we don't drive through potholes like we did 20 years ago when I took over as commissioner today. But we do need to maintain those roads through a chip seal program, and we need to accelerate that program.
Thank you, sir. My next question. There's been talk recently of proposing a new public safety tax in the county to alleviate strain on the county's general budget, which currently pays for emergency services. Now, this talk obviously has been it's included county officials, even though the final decision would rest in the hands of city officials. Do you support such an idea for Fayette County? And Mr. Naylor, I'll begin with you.
The public safety tax, right now I do not support it and won't support it. I'll encourage our office holders and our council to continue to find ways to cut, places to cut. Even if it's $5,000 here in this budget and $5,000 there in this budget, we need to meet our expenditures to our income. And I think that's the priority right now.
Mr. Gray.
This is a copy of the county budget. 58 pages. I think we can find some places to cut, don't you? 58 pages? I think we can find some places to cut. But listen here. My wife gets up every morning and drives from my house across Fayette County. She drives all the way to Sunman, Indiana to go to work. And everyone in this room has a loved one that does the same. I'm not for the safety tax because it's an income tax on our hard-working men and women of Fayette County. But I'm also not going to cut our safety personnel. Because at 4:30 in the morning, if my wife or your loved ones needs someone, who are they going to call? 911. You better hope they're there. We can't cut them, folks. What I would like to see the county do, and I'm going to work with the county council, I'm going to work with the city council, the mayor, and everybody, nobody wants to raise taxes. I understand that, folks, but it's going to happen. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I want to see us put a food and beverage tax. 9%. It's 7% now. Raise it 2%. It's 2 pennies on a dollar. That gets everybody. That gets everybody in this room, not just the working man. I'm a small businessman. I am taxed to death. I don't need no more taxes. But that food and beverage tax gets everybody. Everybody, the people that's not working and the people that's working. That money will go into the general budget. We won't need the safety tax then.
Thank you, sir. Our next question, and this is actually very pertinent to county commissioners. There's been this idea proposed recently that the county eliminate health insurance for future commissioners and council members due to the cost the county incurs because of it and its current financial state. If elected, would you choose to change the county handbook to eliminate county health insurance for those two bodies, something current commissioners have yet to do? Mr. Gray, I'll begin with you.
Well, that's sort of ironic, because I just talked to Frank Jackson a couple days ago. I was at a commissioners meeting and told him that he needs to accept not paying people or giving people health benefits. Listen, if you don't work a 40-hour week for this county, you're not getting health insurance. Make me commissioner, that'll happen. I guarantee it. You will not get health insurance unless you work a 40-hour week for this county. It's not right. You shouldn't be doing it. You should know it's wrong when you accept it.
Mr. Naylor, your response.
As far as the county commissioners and the county council, if they vote to or decide to give up the insurance benefit for themselves, I believe that it should be straight across the board, not only the ones that are already in, or the newly elected, but those that are already in there should have to give it up as well. I don't believe in the grandfathering those in. If I'm elected, I won't ask for it anyway. However, with what John said, we have to keep in mind, if we do away with health insurance for anybody under 40 hours, no one in the courthouse will receive insurance. All the elected officials in there and the employees, because they work a 36-hour week, I believe.
I believe that's considered a full-time job in my eyes. I'm talking 20 hours, folks. How many hours do we work as commissioner? How many hours does our county council work as a councilman?
When I was commissioner, I worked almost 40 hours a week.
Somewhere in this budget, folks, there's a courthouse lease. If we had that money, we wouldn't be asking about raising taxes. We're talking almost over $500,000 we pay on a courthouse since 2004, and it won't be paid until 2028. Come on, folks, we got to use common sense and business sense. We can't do this no more.
Mr. Naylor, with you having been involved with the courthouse previously, would you like to offer a rebuttal?
When we addressed the courthouse issue, when I was commissioner before, we had a situation where we were under court mandate, federal court mandate, to bring it to ADA needs. We addressed the issue of space needs for the next, what we were hoping for, the next 100 years that the county would need. And we wanted the building to be there for another 100 years. So we constructed, we set the construction up to build a building or renovate a building to be here 100 years from now. Does it cost? Yeah, it costs. And, but we didn't raise taxes. We didn't raise property taxes when we did it. We wrapped it around the jail lease so that we could absorb that lease once it was paid off. And I believe that's worked as planned.
Thank you, gentlemen. Our last question before we turn it over to the audience, and I'll begin with you, Mr. Naylor. Commissioners are the main legislative and executive body of Fayette County. What leadership expertise related to state law, resolutions, ordinances, contract negotiations, and the other responsibilities of commissioners do you have and can bring to this position?
Well, as I said, I spent 23 years working for the city of Connersville at the Fayette County First Aid Unit. I sat on, I believe, 3 contract negotiations with the employees of the First Aid Unit and the city of Connersville. I dealt with the contracts with the Highway Department when I was commissioner. I spent 8 years as commissioner, as I said, dealing with the state laws and ordinances and regulations. I know when I come in as commissioner, we found a lot of ordinances, both local and state, that we as Fayette County, we just wasn't following because it was seemed to be the good old boy system, and we turned that around through a lot of work and a lot of beating our heads up against the wall. We got the employee handbook built when I was commissioner before, and I think that's helped alleviate any future lawsuits with employees and problems with employees. So I think through my past experience with my job and serving this community that I can continue on.
Mr. Gray.
Well, I've never done this job. Some of my friends ask me, why do I want it? Well, I love my community. I don't have much experience with the state laws. I believe that's why we've got a fee in here for an attorney. He can inform me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. I do have 30 years of working with the most important budgets of all. The people watching me here, the people watching me at home. They bring me their cars, I fix them under their budget. I write them an estimate, we fix it under their budget. Folks, all I do is fix things. I'm the guy you call when it's broke. Our county's broke. Let me fix it.
Thank you, gentlemen. And now we're going to turn it over to the audience. Are there any audience members that would like to ask questions of your commissioner candidates this evening?
Come on, don't be shy.
And it doesn't appear so. So, gentlemen, we'll move on to closing statements.
They must feel sorry for me.
Mr. Gray, we'll begin with you.
Like I said, I've worked 30 years. Fayette County's been good to me. We can't continue to keep making poor business decisions. We have to, good Lord didn't bless me with much, but he blessed me with a lot of common sense. And you may not like what I got to tell you, but it'll be the truth. I'll listen to your problems. We'll figure out a way together to fix it. I can't sit up here and tell you that I won't raise or won't try to initiate some kind of tax. Folks, we're sinking. We're sinking. The budget, it don't match up. It ain't going to work. I've been to some of the county council meetings, been to the commissioners' meetings. We ain't got enough funds. In another year or two, we're not going to pay our bills. And there is some places we're going to cut if I'm elected commissioner. But all I ask the people to do at home is do your research. If you don't know me, if you don't know who I am or what I'm about, ask somebody in your family, your neighbors, your friends, the people in your church. Somebody knows who I am in your circle. Ask them what I'm about. That's all you got to do. You ask them what I'm about, and they're going to tell you. What I tell you is the truth. I'll fix it. Together, we'll fix it. I can't do it by myself. It's going to take each and every one of you to help me, but we'll fix it.
Mr. Naylor.
Once again, I thank you for the time that you've given us tonight, and I thank the audience for coming out. I thank John for his interest.
Thank you.
John and I, we come from a lot of the same roots and beliefs. And tonight, I really don't care who you vote for, whether you vote for John or you vote for myself. But what I do care about is this community, whether it sinks or it floats. I care and I want to help make sure that it floats. I just want you to come out and vote. Like I said, it doesn't matter which one you vote for. We're both going to do this community the best job that we could possibly can do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And that concludes the County Commissioner District 2 candidate portion of tonight's debate forum. Next up will be District 3 County Commissioner, which I believe we only have one candidate in attendance this evening, Democrat Ellis McQueen. Welcome back to this year's County Candidate Debate Forum. Once again, I'm James Sprague, editor of the News Examiner, and now we have County Commissioners District 3 candidates that we'll be asking questions of this evening. We only have one candidate in attendance right now. That's Ellis McQueen, Democrat. Republican candidate Mark Nobby is not in attendance this evening. So good evening, Mr. McQueen. I hope you're comfortable flying solo up there.
Well, that's great.
Okay.
It's a lot easier, I guess. I am running for Commissioner District 3. I'm born and raised in Fayette County. I basically worked here all my life. I worked at the police department for about 29 years where I retired. I'm married to Carol. I have 3 stepsons and 2 daughters. I don't have all the answers for all of our problems of Fayette County. We do have some problems. We got some issues. I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to work with people. I think the biggest thing that I want to look at is I want to stop pointing fingers and saying, hey, this guy's to blame or that guy's to blame. I think we all need to work for a common goal and work together at it and get where we need to be.
Thank you, sir. We'll be asking the same questions of you as we asked of the previous 2 county commissioner candidates. So I will begin with the first question. What areas do you believe the county commissioners can improve on or tweak to better the county's infrastructure, such as roads?
I guess at this point, and being completely honest, I think we probably need to sit down with each department head and figure out where we're at. Until you sit down and talk to them, it's probably hard to just stand up here and make a decision on what you really want to do. I do want to work with department heads. I do want to have a plan and a goal that we want to reach. I think in the past we've had some problems where we never really had like a maintenance plan or a specific plan that we stick with to where we can obtain a goal, and I do want to work on that.
Thank you. My next question, there's been talk recently of proposing a new public safety tax in the county, even though the ultimate decision would be left up to city officials, and that would be to alleviate strain on the county's general budget, which currently pays for emergency services. Do you support such an idea for Fayette County?
I guess at this point, I'm not totally against it, and I'm not totally for it. I think I would have the budget hearings are this month. I think we need to sit down and look and see what our budget's actually going to be for next year. Obviously, I wouldn't want to cut jobs. I don't want to see people have to pay more money. There's going to be a lot of tough decisions, I believe, in the next few years that's going to have to be made. They're probably not going to be very popular, but some of them's going to have to be made. The only thing I can tell you and be completely honest about was I will give my very best to save jobs and not cut jobs and not apply a tax unless it's absolutely necessary.
Thank you, sir. My next question, commissioners are the main legislative and executive body of Fayette County. What leadership expertise related to resolutions, state law, ordinances, contract negotiations, and other responsibilities of county commissioners do you have and can bring to this position?
Like I said, I worked at the police department for about 29 years. I worked both sides of that. I was assistant chief for a while. I worked on the other side at the line guys and supervisor positions. I was the chief negotiator for the union, and I negotiated contracts, several of the contracts with the city. We also, when I was as the assistant chief, we did manage a budget every day. After I retired, I got a job with Griffey Farms, and I helped manage a feed store there. And every day we're cutting corners and watching what, the dollars so we can pass it on to the community or the public for a good price on that. So I do have some experience with budgets. I also worked with, or was the director at the animal shelter for a while. I managed that budget. So I'm not really, I guess I am familiar, with budgets and what we need to do to make that work.
My final question, Mr. McQueen. There's been an idea proposed recently the county eliminate health insurance for future commissioners and council members due to the cost to the county given its current financial state. If elected, would you choose to change the county handbook to eliminate county health insurance for those bodies, something current commissioners have yet to do?
Personally, I don't need the insurance. I would not take the insurance. I think you got to be careful with that. You can't, You can't take somebody that's already getting insurance and just yank the rug out from under them and say, okay, go find your insurance. I think it is an expense that probably needs to be addressed, and we need to sit down with those people and talk to them and see how we can work that out. There is, from my understanding, I think there's probably about $50,000 budgeted for that total insurance, but I don't think, but there's only a few that actually gets that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McQueen. We're going to open it up to the audience. If there are any audience members that would like to ask a question of their candidate. And seeing none, we'll move on to closing statements. Mr. McQueen, you have the floor.
Like I said, I'm running for District 3 Commissioner. Would really appreciate your vote. The only thing I will tell you is I'm a hard worker. I can make good decisions, I can make hard decisions, and I would appreciate your vote in November. Thank you.
That concludes our portion for County Commissioners District 3. We will next be asking questions of County Treasurer candidates, which would be Republican LaVonda Glover and Democrat Tim Bentley. And our 2016 Fayette County Candidate Debate Forum continues here with our County Treasurer candidates. From the left, we have Republican LaVonda Glover, followed by Democrat candidate Tim Bentley. Good evening, folks, and this one actually will be shorter than the previous rounds of questioning. We'll go ahead and start with opening statements. Ms. Glover.
As was said previously, I am LaVonda Glover. I am running for Fayette County Treasurer. I have 20 plus years experience in the banking as far as deposits and loans. I also work down at the city clerk's office in accounts receivable. I've been living in Fayette County for the last 24 years. It's a great community. I love giving back to the community.
Mr. Bentley.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Tim Bentley. I have been born right here in Connorsville and been a part of this community all my life, and married to my wife Gina, and we have 3 kids, Destiny, Jacob, and Joshua. Gina and I have been very involved in the community. I've worked in manufacturing the last 24 years in management. The previous companies I've worked for, typically I've been a part of managing budgets of up in the millions of dollars, probably up to $500 to $800 million, with my department budgets being well into the millions of dollars. We've been very involved in the community. Again, like I said, I'm currently the president of the Board of Works and Safety here in Connorsville. I'm also the president of the Aquina Park. I'm a licensed real estate broker here in Fayette County, among other things that we're involved in. So my hope is to be your next county treasurer and to be able to do even more here in Fayette County.
Thank you, Mr. Bentley. We'll move on to the questions. My first question, and I'll direct this first to Ms. Glover. County treasurer is responsible for collecting, retaining, and dispersing county funds. What specific experience can you cite that you bring to the role where thousands upon thousands of county dollars flow through that office every day?
Thank you. As I said before, I have 20 plus years experience in the banking business as far as deposits, dealing with loans from small ones to million plus loans, knowing how to make the deposits and withdrawals. I think that I can bring forth to this position the knowledge that I have learned from that position at the bank.
Mr. Bentley.
As far as that goes, Gina and I started an LLC a number of years ago called GT Enterprise of Indiana. We have several rentals and things like that, so we've managed and taken care of a personal business for, like I said, well over a decade. And as I mentioned, I've been in manufacturing for 24 years, managed many employees, millions of dollars of budgets. I've been responsible for a number of suppliers and relationships with major customers like Ford, GM, Honda, Chrysler, and been very successful at managing those dollars, and my plan is to bring those same skills to the county level.
Thank you both. Our next question, and this is the final question from me before I turn it over to the audience. The county treasurer's office is responsible for the collection of property tax within the county, and it has been made known in the past that not all property taxes are being collected. What ideas do you have, if elected, to increase property tax collection within Fayette County? And Mr. Bentley, I'll direct that to you first.
Well, that definitely has been a concern, is getting all of them collected. And I don't think there's any county that has a 100% success rate at that, but obviously there's definitely room for an improvement that we can improve on here in Fayette County. I think the key thing is getting houses back on the tax roll if possible. We have a number of vacant properties and things that seem to sit waiting on commissioner sales and such for a number of months or years, and we've got to do our due diligence in getting those houses back on the tax roll as quick as possible. Again, about 2 years ago, I obtained my brokerage license in real estate, so I think I understand a little bit through that, and maybe can bring some of those tools into the office of how do we get properties back able to be marketable and get people interested to assume those properties so that we can get them quickly back onto the tax roll.
Thank you, Mr. Bentley. Ms. Glover, your response.
Could you repeat the question, please?
The question is, County Treasurer's Office is responsible for the collection of property tax within the county, and it has been made known in the past that not all property taxes are being collected. What ideas might you have, if elected, to increase property tax collection within Fayette County?
I agree with Tim Bentley as far as there's never a 100% accuracy rate in collecting all taxes. However, I think that with the help of the community, with the help of the residents of Fayette County, that we can reduce the vacant homes as far as making sure they're rented out to people, and take care of the community as it is.
Thank you both. I'll open it up to the audience. Anyone that would like to ask questions of their treasurer candidates? And seeing none, we'll move on to closing statements. I'll begin with you, Mr. Bentley.
Oh, me. Sorry. I've got some fans out there entertaining me. I apologize. Closing statements, for me, I covet every one of you here as well as out on TV for your vote. And my wife and I lead a very conservative life value, and I know people get hung up with parties and stuff, but you know, I think in the small towns, that's things that really we need to look at. Who has the drive, who has the passion to want to lead our community. And even working 60 hours a week, driving an hour out of town one way each day, I still commit to be very involved in Fayette County. And my intent is, once I'm your next treasurer, is to be even more involved in Fayette County. And I do believe that these type of public forums is a job interview. And I can tell you, I want your vote. I want to be hired for this job. And I can promise you, you won't be let down, because the extra time that I'm going to have being here in Fayette County, being in the courthouse, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and be more involved and do even more to see our city become a great city. And I truly believe it is a great city to live, and it's a great city to serve, and that's exactly what I intend to do. Appreciate everyone's vote on November 8th. And if you see me out, if you have any questions or anything about my thoughts or views on anything, please don't hesitate to come and talk to me and ask me one-on-one. I'd be glad to talk to you, and I'd love to talk to you. Thank you.
Ms. Glover.
Thank you. As I stated before, I am LaVonda Glover, running for Fayette County Treasurer. Just to recap, that I do have 20 years experience in the banking as far as deposits and loans. I want to say that I want to do more for the community as well. I am community-minded. This is a great little town. This is a wonderful community to live in, to provide for, and to help. I think pulling together as a whole will do that. If I'm elected for this position, I will do everything that I possibly can, if not learn what I need to learn to make it better. Come November 8th, I would appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
That concludes our county treasurer candidate portion of the debate forum, and we will move on next to the Fayette County coroner candidates. Welcome back to the candidate debate forum here at Roberts Park Pavilion, and we're now moving on to the Fayette County coroner candidates portion of tonight's event. We have two candidates there in front of us running for Fayette County coroner. From the left, we have Republican Mary Poe, followed by Democrat Beverly Hobbs. As the format's been all evening, I'll allow 3 minutes for an opening statement from each candidate, 2-minute responses to the questions that we have, 1-minute rebuttals if there are any, and 3 minutes for a closing statement. So we'll begin with you, Ms. Poe, your opening statement.
Thank you very much. As he said, my name is Mary Poe. I have been a member of the community here in Connorsville my entire life. I have worked in Connorsville my entire life, only in this community, and I am very proud to be a part of this community. I have been a deputy coroner here in Connorsville for nearly 7 years now, so I'm definitely qualified to do the job. I very much would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Ms. Hobbs.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank TV3, Connorsville News Examiner, and everyone here for coming. I'm Beverly Hobbs, candidate for Fayette County coroner. My 37 years medical experience has prepared me for the coroner's office. In 1979, I started out at Fayette Regional as a nursing assistant, furthering my education to licensed practical nurse in 1984 and registered nurse in 1987. I have an associate's degree in nursing. I'm a certified emergency nurse, certified trauma nurse, and a certified medical legal death investigator. Franklin County Deputy Coroner. My medical experience is extensive. It consists of unexpected, expected deaths, homicidal, suicidal, accidental, and natural. Charge nurse and leadership in emergency rooms for the last 25 years. Acute, chronic, and terminal illnesses. Sexual assault and abuse. Alcohol and substance abuse, domestic violence, elderly and child abuse, physical and emotional trauma, behavioral and mental disorders, educating patients and families, being with families, helping them to understand and cope with the loss of a loved one, working with tissue and organ donation, child protective services, social services, and other involved agencies. I currently am an RN, charge nurse in the emergency department at Fayette Regional. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. We'll move on to the questions. First one, and I'll direct this one to you, Ms. Poe. Deaths, especially ones needing investigation, can occur at all times of the day and night. What steps will you take, given the other responsibilities in your life, to be available and able to be contacted and respond when needed?
I am fully committed at any time, day or night, to respond to any call that we have had in the past, like I say, nearly 7 years. The current coroner, Vicki Wysong, has been able to call on me at any time, and I have immediately went. And again, I am prepared at any time.
Ms. Hobbs, your response.
This is something I've planned on doing for many years. I wanted to wait until I was ready to retire from nursing. I'm retiring at the end of the year, whether I am elected or not. So I will be available 24/7 most of the time. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. And this is my last question for the coroner candidates. As with the treasurer, it's not as extensive as county commissioners and council. This one I'll direct to you, Ms. Hobbs, to begin with. Autopsies and pathologist fees especially have been a large chunk recently in the past few years regarding the coroner's budget. What ideas do you have to possibly trim those expenses yet still perform your duties as charged?
Could you repeat that? I'm not...
Autopsies, especially the pathologist fees that are associated with them, have been a large chunk in the past few years of the county coroner's budget. What ideas might you have to possibly trim those expenses, yet still perform your duties as charged?
I guess talking to different, they have to be board certified pathologists to do an autopsy. Some friends of mine, they did talk to some people at Marion County. I think they got like $200 knocked off of the price. I mean, if we have to do the board certified, which we do, there's not a lot that we can do.
Ms. Poe, your response.
Thank you. I would like to start out by saying we have probably, well, in fact, the smallest budget in Fayette County for the coroner's office. I am proud to say over the last several years, with the exclusion of the past two, we have had a surplus of funds that was able to give back into the general fund, which, again, I'm really glad that we were able to do that, saving money. Autopsies, I believe that they are tricky, and it does take some experience, and during an investigation, you will make that determination. Is it necessary to do an autopsy? Are we able to do a chemical autopsy where we would draw blood and vitreous fluid and urine of that nature and determine the cause of death that way? We could try to eliminate some costs, but again, I'm pretty proud of the surplus that we have been able to give back into the general fund to utilize at a later date.
Thank you, ladies. I'll open the floor to questions from the audience, if anyone has any. And seeing none, we'll move on to closing statements. Ms. Hobbs, we'll begin with you.
My plan is to be a coroner visible at scenes with competent death investigations as to the cause and manner, to continue to educate the public, to continue to work with families, helping them understand and cope with the loss of their loved one with care and compassion, to work as a team with law enforcement, medical personnel, EMS, fire departments, funeral home directors, and all involved agencies. I'm asking for your support and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I am asking for the vote of the people in Connersville. Again, I do have the experience, nearly 7 years as a deputy, and I'm fully prepared to move forward and take over where Vicki leaves off. She has very well trained me. I, in fact, do all the training for the new deputies that come in. I've been doing that for at least 5 years. I also make the schedule for the coroner and any deputies that we have. If I were not available at the time, say for instance, if I had to have a surgery or on vacation, they are very prepared to step up and take over as well. And again, I appreciate your vote. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies. And that concludes our Fayette County Coroner's candidate portion of tonight's debate forum. And wrapping it up this evening will be the candidates for Fayette Circuit Judge. And welcome back to the 2016 Fayette County Candidate Debate Forum. We're at the last portion of tonight's event, the candidates for Fayette Circuit Court Judge. Currently, we have Republican Hubert Brandstetter with us. The possibility does exist, Democrat incumbent Fayette Circuit Judge Beth Butch may appear. She was at the auction, the livestock auction. So we'll go ahead and start. The forum is the same as it's been for every other candidate, Mr. Brandstetter.
Thank you.
3-minute opening statement, 2-minute time for response to questions, 1-minute rebuttal if you have anyone to rebut.
Okay, thank you.
And a 3-minute closing statement. So we'll go ahead and begin with your opening statement.
Thank you for that, and thank you for having us here tonight. It's a wonderful opportunity for us, and thanks for everybody here in the crowd. We appreciate you being here. My name is Hubert Brandstetter, and I'm the Republican candidate for Circuit Court Judge. And I'm born and raised here in Connersville. I've been married to my wife Karen for 25 years now. We have 6 children together, and with her and them, they basically inspire me every day to work hard and keep going forward to try to make things better for our county and for our community. And I want to say that this brings back a lot of memories for me, because I probably have attended this fair off and on for over 50 years. And I know as a kid, I had so much fun here coming here with my parents. We would attend the different events, and I hope there are kids out here today having as much fun as I had when I was a kid here. It was absolutely wonderful to be raised in a community like this, and I really enjoyed that. My grandparents actually came here in the 1940s, and they came here from Kentucky. Like a lot of you here, you probably share a similar heritage where they moved up here for work. My grandfather ultimately retired from D&M. My grandmother retired from Ford, and my mom later actually worked for Ford as well, Ford Visteon, and retired from there as well. My dad was in the timber business, and I helped him when I was a teenager, and we cut trees all over this county. He did that for many years and was a very hard worker, and that taught me a really good work ethic at a young age. I actually didn't go back to law school until after I had been out of college for a while and had worked as a high school teacher and basketball and football coach. And one of the reasons I decided to go back to law school was some of the things I'd seen going on in the schools and with the children and their families, and it basically inspired me to look to see if there's something else I could do to help them and to make a difference in their lives. That's when, with the support of my wife, we decided that I'd go back to law school. I took that on. We accomplished that. I didn't go to law school with the idea of being any sort of corporate attorney or working for any sort of big firm or working in a big city. We wanted to come back to a small community and see what we could do to help people, help families, and help children. And that's basically what I've done over the last 15 years with my law practice, is just practice in a general area, doing different things to help families. I've done estates for families. I've done guardianships for families. We've done adoptions for families. I've represented kids in various juvenile matters. I've handled thousands of criminal cases, felonies, misdemeanors, all the way up to including murder cases. So that's something I've done over the last 15 years and garnered a great deal of experience doing that. I've also continued my love of teaching. I've been working as an adjunct for the last 7 years at Ivy Tech, along with my private practice, and that's something that I've enjoyed doing as well. I feel like nationally, this is a year for change. Locally, it's a year for change, and I want to be part of that change. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to the question portion. Mr. Brandstetter, my first question to you will be, the county jail currently normally runs at either max capacity or even overcrowding. A lot of it due to the drug situation and the multiple drug arrests that occur here within the county. How, as a judge, would you balance or approach your sentencing in drug-related cases in connection to that jail overcrowding?
Thank you for that question. That's an excellent question, because it's a big problem here locally. The individuals that are in the jail and the amount of individuals that are in that jail. I would hope that when appropriate, I can use sentencing that would basically take advantage of our community corrections program. We have a great building over there, and if that's something for the appropriate person to send them over there and let them work and let them pay for their food and let them pay for their incarceration, I think that's a great thing to look at. I think with drug cases, if we can look at inpatient rehabilitation programs, I think that would be appropriate for a lot of individuals, and there are a lot of good programs here locally and throughout the state that we can look at. We need to find the right fits for those individuals, but that's definitely something we need to look at. We also need to look to see what we can do to prevent individuals who come through one time on maybe a smaller charge from turning right around, coming back in again on a more serious charge, coming right back again on a more serious charge. We have to stop the recidivism in this county. It's too much. And I think we can do that if we look at some programs to help prevention and prevent these issues for these individuals who have the addiction problems before they get so far along that it's hard to help them. So I think that's something we really need to look at. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That actually kind of leads into my next question. The court system itself in Fayette County is packed with criminal cases connected to drug abuse. How, as a judge, will you approach that strain that's already on the court system and how, with your sentencing, can you attempt to address the drug issue in Fayette County?
Well, the drug issue is big. I mean, this is a crisis. This is a public health policy problem. This is a criminal law problem. This is definitely a local problem for us. So I think we need to look at the community and see what's out there. I know there are a lot of good people in the community working hard already on these issues, and I want to look across the board. I want to think outside the box. I'm a creative person, and I will be creative with sentencing on the appropriate cases if we have individuals who I think are going to respond well to rehabilitation, or if we can intervene and do something to prevent these people, these young people especially, who may be drifting in that direction, and get that stopped before it becomes too big of a problem for them. Thank you.
Mr. Brandstetter, my last question for you before I turn it over to the audience. Obviously, it is known that child neglect is a big issue within Fayette County as well. The Fayette Circuit Court closely works with CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocates, to assist those children that oftentimes they're in need of that voice and they are the main individual involved in a child neglect case. But often CASA struggles from lack of promotion or lack of knowledge within the community about CASA. How, as a judge, would you help promote that program and even address its backlog of children who are waiting for court-appointed special advocates?
The CASA program is a wonderful program. For those people who aren't familiar, CASA provides a voice to a lot of these children who don't have a voice in court. And it is so important. And anyone here who would be interested in doing that, talk to them and see if you can volunteer your services, because I know they need volunteers, and I know that they are short of individuals, and the people who are in there do a wonderful job, and I think we just need to keep encouraging people in the community to help get involved with that and help them understand what the program is and what a need that is for the children in our community. And hopefully we can get that up to speed and keep that going, because it's really vital to have this CASA program, and they do wonderful work.
Thank you, Mr. Brandstetter. That's my last question. I'll open it up to the audience for anyone that's still remaining that might want to ask a question of their judicial candidate. And seeing none, Mr. Brandstetter, the floor is yours for your closing statement.
Thank you. And once again, thank you for having me here this evening. It's fun to be at the fair. I've had a fun week. I've had a chance to meet a lot of interesting people and fun people and supportive people. And thank everyone, and I want to thank everyone in the community for all the support. It's been really quite overwhelming, and I appreciate it. And I want you to know I'm going to go forward and campaign as hard as I can. I have great local ties here, and it's so exciting. It's so exciting to be running for an office in your hometown and to be able to go forward with the support we've had. And I guarantee you, I'll work as hard as I can. I'm going to bring a common sense approach. I have the ability, one of my skills is to take complicated things and make them simple. And that's what you want. You want somebody who can simplify things and get things done. And that's what I'll do if elected. I really would appreciate your vote. This is a calling for me. This is a mission that I've been on since I've been back to law school, to help children and help local families. And I'm asking you to help me accomplish that. And if you can help me accomplish that, I would greatly appreciate your vote this fall. Thank you.
And with that, that concludes this evening's 2016 Fayette County Candidate Debate Forum. On behalf of TV3 and the Connersville News-Examiner, we thank you all very much for turning out, both candidates and the audience. Wish you a good evening and enjoy the rest of tonight's fair activities.